Hello again, and welcome to my channel. So this is one of the updates that I'm going to do about a previous video that wasn't you couldn't listen to very well. I didn't think that my microphone was not as wasn't able to capture a lot of the words that I've said, so I've started to use earphones in this case. But I'm just going to, for those that probably did hear the whole thing, I'm just going to clarify and paraphrase a lot of the situations that we've had during that previous video, which I think it's important. I promised that I would have these, videos redone or reworked again, at least in part, so that we don't lose the context of what was recorded in that previous video. I can't recall which one exactly, but it was the one where back in January, the Sirians and the Andromedans were contacted along with the Pleiadians to allow a sort of partnership to protect Earth. Sirians and the Andromedans want to protect the Earth, okay? They're agreed at that level to protect the Earth. Now, these beings that I was in communication or communicating with back in January at the time, they're non-physical. It's a non-physical Sirian non-physical Andromedan experience. They're not exactly physical Sirians or Andromedans. So at that level, there's going to be protection for Earth as well. Okay, so the next thing to keep in mind is that there was a negative being, a Draco, that wanted to listen in on that conversation that we were having. The Sirians and the Andromedans, we dropped that meeting, so to speak. We didn't continue along with it. So I'm only just saying this to continue on to the next thing, which is that we continue to have a conversation in June. Now, this conversation that we had around June or July, I want to say maybe even into August. I can't quite remember when, but the latest maybe early August. But we continued the conversation then, because higher dimensional beings were given the authority to do harvest because we're just so good at it. Okay? These higher dimensional beings wanted to continue on to the next dimension, which wasn't exactly turned down, but they're going to receive their higher self connection through their heart chakras. It's what's going to happen to them. Okay? So they're going to receive this information. They're going to receive that gift of a seventh dimensional experience for them as an incentive for them to continue to do harvests for Earth. And generally, whoever I believe would ask for this kind of assistance. So the Sirians and the Andromedans came back to say that we want these high dimensional beings to help us do these harvests for the physical Sirians and the physical Andromedans, all right, up to a fifth dimensional experience. Again, this is a harvest that we're going through now, and these higher dimensional beings were the ones given the authority to do so. If you want to ask and aren't afraid to hear the answer of why this is happening this way, feel free to ask your creator, okay, why is this happening like this? Okay, or who is it that really does have an authority to go about doing these things that are happening now here on Earth regarding the harvests? Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, I wanted to continue to say that a negative entity of humans were also so persistent that they wanted to participate in the conversation that the Syrians and myself had regarding assistance in harvests that they now know that we're in charge of, okay? So I'm paraphrasing this channeling with them as their, contactee that allows these messages to go out. Otherwise, you wouldn't know about it. So I am in service to my Creator in this way. In any case, the negative entities, they used a phrase that allowed them to disconnect temporarily the Syrian and my communication with them. But they were allowed to listen in on what we were saying, and the conversation was simply not private now because I'm making this public, was about how the Syrians wanted assistance in harvests, and the Andromedans also wanted assistance in harvest. And we were going about agreeing to this process of how this would start. These negative entities disconnected our connection, which led me to say to them, the Syrians, that they would understand. I will explain to you when I get there, was what I said to the Syrians as to why they disconnected that energy like that. So we're talking about a higher density Syrian energy, and we're talking about a very low third dimensional energy here on Earth. So they didn't know how to handle that information. That's why I want to reiterate, anyone that's on Earth right now that chooses incarnation so they can learn, it's here for a learning experience, but you're also here because your galactic family would want to know, how was Earth? How is it? How does it feel to live in the physical world? Why is there so much push and pull? Why is there so much polarity? Okay, that's basically what they want to know. Can you explain? Can you explain polarity? How, can you give us an example of an experience you've had? And every time you go to sleep, every time you're dreaming, you're on that ship. Okay, you're there. You're talking to your family. You're communicating. You may not even remember this. You're communicating with them. You're interacting with them. You're just, there to tell them everything that they want to hear about, because quite frankly, I mean, even though the Earth is going through an ascension process now, not a lot of beings would want to be here because they know how difficult it is to get lost in a world like this, okay? How difficult it is to fall into the wheel of this push and pull that we have here. And they're more than happy to just hear it from you than doing it themselves, or maybe they will do it at some time. But you are a very brave soul to be here, okay? And I congratulate you for that, okay? So we're here to clean everything up, okay? So this is a process. This is the steps that had to be taken, and these are the things that are meant to be as they are, okay? So I'm speaking to you, and I'm letting you know that the process for this is almost complete. The harvest is ongoing. And when we make these connections, when we interact, we're bringing or bridging a gap closer to what the goal will be, which is the protection of Earth first, and the assistance of harvesting souls so that they can grow. Okay? On another note, I received some assistance in looking past that wall that we couldn't go through, and it was black. We couldn't see anything. The only thing I was able to see was a zigzag line. Okay? Think of an old hand saw. You know how it has teeth? If you looking at it vertically, you'll be looking at these zigzag lines, and what that means is, the way I understood it was, the zigzag lines needed another pair of matching zigzag lines to make the full picture. So we were only seeing half of one other thing. We were missing that frequency code that was needed to access that information. That's as far as we were able to go. So there's nothing more than just the zigzag lines. The frequencies didn't match, or somewhere along the way of saying you need the other frequency key to get through. It's kind of what we saw. We saw the keyhole, which didn't have the key, but you can. What I'm explaining is there's the keyhole. You just need the frequency to connect with that, so that you can go past that seemingly cave-like wall that was there. But it's not exactly a wall. It's a door. Okay, so I'm leaving you with that. If there's anything else as I go about my week, I'll get information through. Please send over all your requests and all your energy for questions. Keep sending them until you get an answer because I have a daily life just like everyone else. Okay? And the more you interact with me, the better it is for us to have a communication. And maybe we may not even need to give you a video for an answer. Okay? Maybe you just like your blood cells or through your body. You don't need to know exactly what your blood cells are doing, but you know they're working, right? So that's probably a clue for you right there. In any case, I'd like for you to have a great weekend. Yet again, if something does come up, I will let you know and I will quickly get information out to you. I love you all very much and have a good rest of your day.